The great dragon, Kang, floated in his prison ship through the cold darkness of space. Once, he had been a proud guardian of the Celestial Empire. Now, he was nothing but a criminal in their eyes. Traitor, the Empress had called him. Her golden eyes had shown no mercy as she passed his sentence. You are too dangerous to keep among us. Kang's metal-like scales dulled as he remembered that day. For 5,000 years, he had served the Empire with honor. He had protected their worlds, fought their enemies, and kept their secrets, until he discovered the truth. The Empire was killing planets, not empty rocks floating in space, but living worlds with thinking beings on them, all to mine a special material called Nexium that powered their ships and cities. When Kang had brought this crime to the High Council, they had not thanked him. They had not promised to stop. Instead, they had called him unstable and dangerous. Your kind has always been too connected to the cosmic energies, the High Minister had said. It makes you soft, emotional, unfit for the modern empire. The ship's computer beeped, pulling Kang from his dark thoughts. A blue planet appeared on the screen, Earth, his new prison. The Empire had chosen it because humans were still young as a species. They had not yet reached the stars. They would not understand what Kang was or where he came from. Perfect isolation, the Empress had said with a cold smile. A fitting end for the last free celestial dragon. Kang's massive body shifted in the too small space of the ship. His wings, once able to carry him between the moons of Zaltar, were now cramped and sore. His claws, sharp enough to tear through battle armor, now scratched uselessly at the unbreakable walls of his cage. The ship entered Earth's atmosphere, shaking violently. This was by design. The Empire wanted him to crash, to be injured, to suffer. The ship's systems began to fail one by one. First the engines, then life support, then navigation. Only the prison field holding Kang remained at full power. Through the view screen, Kang watched the ground rush up to meet him. Trees, mountains, a lake reflecting moonlight. It might have been beautiful if it wasn't to be his tomb. The impact came with a roar of twisted metal and broken earth. The ship plowed through a forest, leaving a trail of fire and destruction. Before coming to rest at the base of a mountain, for 3 days, Kang lay in the wreckage, his body healing slowly from the crash. The prison field had failed at last, but he was too weak to move. On the 4th day, he dragged himself from the ship and into a nearby cave. There, he would hide and recover. Weeks passed. Kang ventured out only at night, drinking from the lake and hunting the local wildlife. He was careful to stay hidden from the humans who sometimes came to the forest. Their vehicles and lights were easy to avoid with his keen senses. Their language was simple to learn with the help of his ship's damaged, but still functioning translation matrix. One night, as Kang was fishing in the lake, he heard a strange sound, a soft click, repeated several times. He turned his massive head toward the shore and saw her. A human female stood at the edge of the trees. She held a small device in her hands, the source of the clicking. Her eyes were wide with wonder, not fear, as she looked at him. This was wrong. Humans should fear him. All beings feared celestial dragons. It was why the Empire had used his kind as weapons for so long. You should run, Kang said, his voice rumbling like distant thunder. The translation matrix converted his words to the human language. The woman jumped, startled not by his appearance, but by his speech. You can talk, she said, her voice steady despite the rapid beating of her heart that Kang could hear clearly. I can do many things that would terrify you, Kang replied, rising from the water to his full height, 15 meters of gleaming scales and ancient power. Water cascaded from his wings as he spread them wide. Run, little human. Tell your people a monster lives in these mountains. But the woman did not run. Instead, she lowered her clicking device and took a step forward. I'm Gia, she said. And you're not from Earth, are you? Kang blinked his 4 eyes in surprise. In all his long life, no being had ever reacted to him with such calm curiosity. No, he admitted. I am from very far away. Are you here to invade us? Gia asked, her head tilted to one side. Because you're not doing a very good job of it. A strange sound escaped Kang's throat, a laugh. Something he had not done in centuries. No invasion, he said. I am an exile, a prisoner sent here to be forgotten. Gia nodded as if this made perfect sense. So you're alone, yes, and probably hungry. Kang had not expected this conversation to take such a turn. I have been eating fish, he said. Fish is good, Jia agreed. But have you tried ramen? It's better with company. Before Kang could respond, Jia was opening a bag she carried and pulling out a small cooking pot and packets of food. With practiced ease, she started a small fire and began preparing what smelled like some kind of soup. You are not afraid, Kang observed, lowering his body to the ground to appear less threatening. Oh, I'm terrified, Jia admitted with a small smile. But I've always believed we're not alone in the universe. And now I know I was right. That's worth a little fear. As the soup cooked, filling the night air with new smells, Jia asked Kang questions about the stars and the worlds beyond Earth. He answered carefully, not wanting to overwhelm her with the vastness of the galaxy or the dangers that lurked in it. What he did not tell her was that the Empire would eventually come looking for him. That Earth, with its rich deposits of Nexium, would someday attract their attention. That when they came, they would not see humans as people, but as obstacles to be removed. For now, Kang decided he would enjoy this strange moment of peace, the first kindness he had known in longer than he could remember. Tomorrow would bring its own troubles. Try this, Jia said, offering a small bowl of the steaming soup. Kang lowered his massive head and delicately took the bowl between two claws. Thank you, he said, a phrase he had not used in a very long time. Perhaps exile would not be as lonely as the Empress had intended. 2 weeks had passed since Kang met Jia by the lake. Each night, she returned to the forest, bringing different foods and endless questions. Kang found himself looking forward to these meetings, a feeling he had not expected to have on this primitive world. Tonight, Jia arrived later than usual. Kang had been waiting in their usual spot, a small clearing near his cave. He could smell her familiar scent before he saw her, a mix of the flowery soap she used, and something uniquely human. Sorry I'm late, she called out as she entered the clearing. My brother was asking too many questions about where I go every night. Kang shifted his massive body, his scales catching the moonlight. You have not told your family about me. It wasn't a question, but Jia answered anyway. No, not yet. She set down her backpack and pulled out a thermos. I want to, but I need to be careful. Some people would be scared of you. Others would want to study you or, worse. Kang nodded his great head. He understood all too well how fear could turn to violence. You are wise to be careful. Jia poured hot tea into 2 cups, handing the larger one to Kang. He took it carefully between his claws. The first time she had offered him tea, he had been confused by the ritual. Now, he found comfort in it. I brought something to show you, Jia said, pulling a tablet from her bag. She tapped the screen, and it lit up with images of stars. These are pictures from our space telescopes. I thought you might like to see how we view the universe. Kang leaned closer, his eyes focusing on the screen. The images were primitive compared to imperial star charts, but there was something pure about them. Humans looked at the stars with wonder, not as resources to be claimed. This is how your people see the galaxy. He asked. Parts of it, Jia said. We can only see so far with our technology. Kang was quiet for a moment. Then he raised one claw and traced a pattern in the dirt. This is where we are now. He made a small circle. And this, he continued, drawing a vast spiral, is what you call the Milky Way. Jia watched with wide eyes as Kang mapped out star systems and nebulae, marking places the Empire had claimed and regions controlled by other powers. The Empire, he explained, spans this entire section. His claw swept across 1/3 of the galaxy. They have ruled for over 10,000 years, expanding slowly but never stopping. And they sent you here, to the edge of everything? Yes, they thought Earth was too far and too primitive to matter. Kang's voice grew softer. They were wrong. Jia looked up from the map. What do you mean? Kang hesitated. He had not planned to tell her so soon, but perhaps she deserved to know. Your world has something the Empire wants, a material you have not yet discovered. It lies deep in your planet's core. What kind of material? You have no word for it. The Empire calls it Nexium. It powers their ships, their cities, their weapons. Kang's scales darkened with emotion. To get it, they drill to a planet's core. The process kills the world. Jia's face paled. They would do that to Earth? Kill our entire planet? Yes, they have done it hundreds of times. Kang's voice grew hard. That is why I was exiled. I discovered they were harvesting Nexium from worlds with living beings on them. When I tried to stop them, they called me a traitor. Gia sat in stunned silence. Kang waited, giving her time to process what he had said. He knew it was a lot for a human to take in the idea that her entire world could be destroyed for its resources. Finally, she spoke. Will they come here? To Earth? Not soon, Kang assured her. But eventually, yes. The Empire is always searching for new Nexium sources. And when they come, what happens to us? To humans? Kang looked away. The Empire does not consider pre-space flight species to be truly sentient. They would see you as animals. Smart animals, but not people. Gia's hands tightened around her teacup. That's horrible. Yes, Kang agreed. It is why I tried to stop them. Why I am here now. A new determination appeared in Gia's eyes. Then we need to prepare. We need to warn people. Kang shook his head. Your world is not ready for such knowledge. Your governments would panic. They might try to fight, but your weapons would be useless against Imperial ships. So we do nothing. Just wait to die. Gia stood up, anger flashing across her face. No, Kang said firmly. We prepare, but carefully. I will teach you about the Empire, their weaknesses, their technology, and perhaps when the time comes, your people will have a chance. Gia took a deep breath, calming herself. Okay, where do we start? Kang considered the question. First, I need to show you something. He rose to his full height. Follow me. He led Gia deeper into the forest, to the crash site of his prison ship. Most of it was buried in the earth, but parts of the sleek metal hull still gleamed in the moonlight. This is how I came to Earth. Kang explained. The ship was designed to crash, but some systems still work. Gia approached the wreckage with caution. It's smaller than I expected. It was not meant for comfort, Kang said dryly. Come, there is something inside you should see. He moved a large piece of metal aside, revealing an entrance. Inside, the ship was dark except for a few blinking lights on a control panel. Kang touched a symbol on the wall, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room, a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Gia gasped. The map was beautiful, stars and planets rotating slowly in the air before her. This is amazing, she whispered. This is truth, Kang said. Your place in the universe, the Empire, everything. He touched another symbol, and the map zoomed in on Earth's solar system. With this, I can teach you what you need to know. Gia reached out, her hand passing through the hologram of her home planet. Why are you showing me this? Why trust me? Kang was silent for a moment. In 5,000 years of life, no one has ever offered me ramen before. His voice held a hint of humor. But more than that, you saw me, and you did not run. You asked questions instead of making judgments. That is rare, even among the oldest species in the galaxy. Gia smiled up at the massive dragon. So what's our next step? Learning, Kang said. You must learn about the Empire, and I must learn more about humans. Together, perhaps we can find a way to protect your world. As they stood in the glow of the galactic map, Kang felt something he had not felt in centuries: hope. This human girl, with her curiosity and courage, had given him a purpose again. He was no longer just an exile waiting to die. He was a teacher, a protector, and maybe, just maybe, a friend. 1 month had passed since Kang showed Gia his crashed ship. The summer days grew longer, and their meetings settled into a pattern. During the day, Kang would rest in his cave. At night, Gia would come to the forest, and they would talk for hours. Tonight was different. Gia was not alone. I brought someone, she said as she entered the clearing. Behind her stood a young man who looked similar to her. This is my brother, Tai. I told him about you. Kang's scales darkened with concern. You said we should be careful about who knows. Tai stared up at the massive dragon, his mouth open in shock. She told me, but I didn't really believe. He took a step back. You're real, very real, Kang said, lowering his head to look at Tai more closely. And you are afraid, wouldn't you be? Tai asked, finding his voice. You're a 15-meter alien dragon. Gia put her hand on her brother's shoulder. Tai works at the science center. He's smart. He can help us. Kang studied the young man. He could smell Tai's fear, but also his curiosity. It reminded him of Jia when they first met. Help us how? Jia told me about the Empire, Tai said. About the Nexium. I've been looking into unusual energy readings around the world. There's something happening that our scientists can't explain. This caught Kang's attention. What kind of readings? Tai pulled out a tablet and showed Kang a map of Earth with glowing spots in several places. These areas are showing strange energy patterns. They started 6 months ago and are getting stronger. Kang's eyes narrowed as he studied the map. 6 months ago. That is when I arrived on Earth. Could it be connected to you? Jia asked. Not directly, Kang said slowly. But perhaps. He turned and headed toward his ship. Follow me. Inside the crashed vessel, Kang activated the holographic map again. This time, he entered a series of commands that made the image of Earth pulse with light. What are you looking for? Tai asked, his fear forgotten as scientific curiosity took over. Nexium signatures, Kang explained. The Empire has ways to detect it from great distances. I feared they might have already started scanning your world. The hologram zoomed in on Earth, showing the same spots that were on Tai's map, but with more detail. Kang's scales paled. What is it? Jia asked, noticing his reaction. These are not natural energy readings, Kang said grimly. These are probes. Imperial probes. Tai looked confused. Probes, like alien devices? Yes, small, automated ships sent to test a planet's Nexium levels. Kang touched one of the glowing spots, and the hologram showed a small, spider-like machine buried deep in the Earth. They burrow into the ground and send data back to the Empire. Jia's face showed her fear. So they already know about Earth? They're coming? Not yet, Kang said. These are early scouts. They gather data for years before the Empire decides to harvest a world. He paused. But it means they have found Earth sooner than I expected. Tai sat down heavily on a piece of the ship's wreckage. How long do we have? 5 years. Maybe 10. Kang's voice was solemn. Not long enough for your people to develop the technology to defend yourselves. A heavy silence fell over the ship's interior. The soft hum of the still-functioning systems seemed louder in the quiet. Finally, Jia spoke. Then we need a different plan. We can't fight them with technology, so we need something else. Like what? Tai asked. Jia looked up at Kang. You're a celestial dragon. You said your kind can control cosmic energies. Could you fight them? Kang's wings shifted uncomfortably. Once, perhaps, but the Empire did things to my kind. Changed us. Limited our powers. His voice grew bitter. They feared what we could do if we turned against them. What kind of changes? Tai asked, his scientific mind working. Implants. Genetic modifications. Kang turned his head to show a metal device embedded at the base of his skull. This limits my connection to the cosmic energies. All dragons in the Empire have them. Tai stood up and approached Kang cautiously. May I? He asked, gesturing to the implant. Kang lowered his head, allowing Tai to examine the device. It cannot be removed. Many have tried. The pain. He didn't finish the sentence. What if we could disable it instead of removing it? Tai suggested. I work with neural interfaces at the lab. This looks advanced, but the basic principles might be similar. Hope flickered in Kang's eyes. If the limiter were disabled, I could access more of my natural abilities. Perhaps enough to contact others who might help us. Others? Jia asked. You mean other dragons? No, my kind are nearly extinct. But there are other powers in the galaxy besides the Empire. Kang touched the hologram again, highlighting a region of space. The Galactic Assembly. They oppose the Empire's expansion, but they do not know the full truth about the Nexium harvesting. If I could reach them, show them what the Empire has done. How would you contact them? Tai asked. Celestial dragons can project their consciousness across vast distances when connected to the cosmic energies, Kang explained. With the limiter disabled, I might be able to reach an assembly world. Jia's eyes lit up with new determination. Then that's our plan. Tai studies the implant, figures out how to disable it, and you contact these assembly people. Tai looked less certain. I'll need equipment data. It could take months just to understand how it works. We have time, Kang reminded him. Not much, but some. I'll help too, Jia said. And we should tell men. She works in communications. She might have ideas about boosting whatever signal you need to send. Kang looked at the siblings with a mixture of hope and concern. You understand the risk? If the Empire discovers what we are doing, they will not show mercy. Jia stood straighter. Earth is our home. We won't let them destroy it without a fight. And besides, Tai added with a nervous smile, how many people get to say they helped an alien dragon save the world? For the first time in many years, Kang felt the weight of his exile lighten. These humans, so young and fragile compared to his kind, showed a courage that reminded him of what the celestial dragons had once been: protectors, not weapons. Very well, he said. We will begin tomorrow. Tai will study the implant. Jia will bring this Min to meet me. And he looked at the holographic map of Earth with its glowing probe sights. I will teach you everything I know about fighting the Empire. As the siblings left the ship, talking excitedly about their plans, Kang remained behind, staring at the hologram. He had not told them everything. He had not explained what would happen to him if the limiter was disabled. The rush of power could burn out his mind. The Empire had designed it that way, a final safeguard against rebellion. But if it meant saving this world and exposing the Empire's crimes, perhaps it was worth the risk. The autumn leaves crunched under Jia's feet as she hurried through the forest. Behind her came Tai and their friend Min, both carrying heavy backpacks filled with equipment. 3 months had passed since they began working on Kang's implant, and today was the day they would try to disable it. Are you sure this will work? Min asked. She was shorter than Jia, with round glasses and quick hands. As a communications expert, she had spent weeks studying the strange signals coming from Kang's ship. No, Tai admitted, but our tests look good. The device responds to the electrical pulses just like we hoped. They reached the clearing where Kang waited. The great dragon looked tired. His scales, once bright like polished metal, had dulled. The implant at the base of his skull seemed to pulse with an angry red light. It's getting worse, isn't it? Jia asked as she approached him. Kang nodded slowly. The Empire is increasing the suppression signal. They must suspect I survived the crash. This was bad news. Over the past weeks, Kang had explained more about how the Empire controlled celestial dragons. The implants didn't just limit their powers, they could also cause pain, or even death if activated fully. Then we need to hurry, Tai said, opening his backpack. He pulled out a device he had built using parts from Kang's ship and equipment from his lab. This should disrupt the implant's signal without damaging your brain. Min set up her own equipment, a modified satellite dish connected to a laptop, and I'll try to block any incoming signals from the Empire. It might buy us some time. Kang lowered his massive head to the ground so Tai could reach the implant. Before we begin, there is something I must tell you. Jia felt a chill that had nothing to do with the autumn air. What is it? If this works, and I can reach the assembly, I will need to use all my power, Kang said. His 4 eyes looked at each of them in turn. The strain may be too much for my body to handle. You mean you could die? Jia's voice cracked. Yes, the implant was designed with safeguards. Breaking through them comes with a price. Tai stopped unpacking his equipment. We can wait. Find another way. There is no other way. Kang interrupted gently. And no more time. Last night, my ship detected a larger probe entering your solar system. The Empire is moving faster than I expected. Min looked up from her computer. How long do we have? Months, not years, Kang said. They will send a harvester ship to begin preliminary extraction. Once that happens, it will be too late. Jia felt tears forming in her eyes. In the months since meeting Kang, he had become more than just an alien visitor. He was her friend, her teacher, a window into a universe larger than she had ever imagined. There has to be another way, she insisted. Kang's scales shifted, showing a pattern that Jia had learned meant sadness. Sometimes there is not, but do not mourn yet. I am very old, even for my kind. If my final act is to save your world and expose the Empire's crimes, that is a good end. A heavy silence fell over the clearing. Then Tai straightened his shoulders and returned to his device. Let's get started. For the next hour, they worked carefully. Tai attached sensors to the area around Kang's implant, while Min monitored for any unusual signals. Jia stayed by Kang's head, talking softly to him as the others worked. "Remember when you tried ice cream for the first time?" she asked, trying to keep his mind off the pain. "You said it was colder than the moons of Zaltar." Kang's eyes crinkled in what she now recognized as a smile, and sweeter than star nectar. "Your world has simple pleasures that the Empire has forgotten. When this is over," Jia said, "we'll try every flavor in the store." Kang didn't respond to this promise they both knew might never be kept. "Ready," Tai announced. "Finally, the disruptor is in place, Min. Signal blocker active," she confirmed. "But I'm picking up something strange. There's an increased transmission coming from orbit." Kang's body tensed. "They know. We must hurry." Tai took a deep breath and activated his device. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and Kang let out a roar that shook the trees. His body convulsed, massive tail thrashing against the ground. "Kang," Jia cried, reaching for him despite the danger. "Stay back." Tai pulled her away. "The energy discharge could hurt you." They watched in horror and wonder as Kang's body began to glow. First his scales, then his eyes, and finally his entire form was surrounded by blue-white light. He rose into the air, wings spread wide, no longer touching the ground. "It's working," Min whispered, staring at her readings. "The implant is offline." Kang's voice, when he spoke, seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I can feel it, the cosmic energy." After so long, his four eyes blazed like stars. "I must act quickly. The Empire has detected the change." "What can we do?" Jia asked. "Protect yourselves," Kang said. "What comes next may be dangerous for you." The dragon's body continued to brighten until it was painful to look at him directly. The air around him shimmered with heat and strange patterns of light. "I see them," Kang said, his voice distant now. "The assembly, their worlds, their minds." His wings beat once, sending a wave of energy across the clearing. "I am sending the truth, everything I know about the Empire, the harvested worlds, the suffering." Min's equipment sparked and smoked. "Something's happening. There's a massive energy spike coming from orbit. Imperial countermeasures," Kang explained, his voice strained. "They are trying to cut off my connection." Tai looked at his readings in alarm. "Your vital signs are dropping. You need to stop." "Not yet," Kang insisted. "The message is not complete." Jia watched helplessly as her friend poured his life force into his desperate message. Across the stars, tears streamed down her face. "Please, Kang, don't leave us for a moment." The dragon's gaze focused on her. "Brave Jia, you showed me kindness when I expected none. Your world is worth saving." A sudden boom shook the forest. Above them, the sky lit up with a flash that turned night to day. "What was that?" Tai shouted over the noise. "Imperial scout ship," Kang said. "They have found us, but too late." His body pulsed with one final surge of light. "The assembly has heard. They are coming. Tell your people to prepare, but do not fear. The assembly will help you." With those words, the light surrounding Kang began to fade. His massive body slowly descended to the ground. His wings folded against his sides. His eyes, once bright as stars, dimmed. "Kang," Jia approached cautiously. "Are you?" The dragon's chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. "Not gone. Not yet." His voice was barely a whisper now, but changed. "The power, it has burned much of me away." Min's computer beeped urgently. "Something's entering the atmosphere. Multiple objects. Assembly ships," Kang said. "They were closer than I thought. The nearest outpost must have received my message first." Tai helped Jia move closer to Kang. She placed her hand on his massive snout. "You did it. You saved us." Kang's eyes closed. "Perhaps, but the fight is not over. The Empire will not surrender Earth easily." His breathing slowed. "I need rest to heal." As the first lights of the assembly ships appeared in the sky above them, Jia made a silent promise to her dragon friend. Whatever came next, she would stand by him. He had given everything to protect her world. Now it was her turn to protect him. 3 days had passed since Kang sent his message to the stars. 3 days since he had collapsed in the forest clearing, his life force nearly spent. Jia had not left his side. The assembly ships had landed in a field near the mountain. There were 5 of them. each shaped like smooth silver eggs. They were smaller than Jia had expected. Nothing like the massive imperial vessels Kang had described. The beings that emerged from these ships were just as surprising. They looked almost human, except for their blue-tinted skin and large, dark eyes. They called themselves the Nari, and they were only one of many species in the Galactic Assembly. We received the dragon's message. Their leader, Alara, had explained to Jia and her friends what the Empire has been doing. It changes everything. Now, Jia sat beside Kang in a special medical tent the Nari had set up. The dragon's massive body barely fit inside. Tubes and sensors connected him to strange machines that hummed and pulsed with light. Will he recover? Jia asked as Alara entered the tent. The Nari leader studied the readings on one of the machines. His life signs are stronger today. Celestial dragons are remarkably resilient. She turned her large eyes to Jia. But he will never be the same. Using so much power after being suppressed for so long has changed him. Changed how? We cannot be certain. No dragon has ever broken free of an imperial implant before. Alara's voice was gentle. But he lives, thanks to you and your friends. Without your help, he could not have sent his message. Jia touched Kang's dulled scales. Once they had shimmered like metal. Now they looked more like stone. He saved us, not the other way around. A low rumble came from Kang's throat. His fur eyes opened slowly, focusing on Jia. You are still here, he said. His voice weaker than before, but clear. Of course I am, Jia said, smiling through sudden tears. Someone has to make sure you try all those ice cream flavors I promised. Kang's mouth curved in what she now recognized as his version of a smile. The assembly came. Yes, Alara confirmed, stepping closer. We received your message, Guardian Kang. The council is already meeting to discuss action against the Empire. Kang tried to raise his head but seemed too weak. The Imperial probe ship, destroyed by our defense systems, Alara said. But more will come when they realize what has happened. How much time do we have? Jia asked. A few weeks, perhaps a month, Alara replied. The Empire will send a harvester ship next. They are massive vessels, designed to begin extracting nexium from a planet's core. Kang's scales darkened with concern. The assembly must evacuate as many humans as possible before then. This world cannot stand against a harvester. Jia's heart sank. Evacuate? You mean leave Earth? It may be the only way to save your species. Kang said sadly. Alara looked uncomfortable. Even with all our ships, we could only save a small fraction of Earth's population. Billions would be left behind. A heavy silence fell over the tent. Jia thought of her parents, her friends at university, all the people in her city. How could they choose who would live and who would die? No, she said finally. There has to be another way. Kang, you told me the Empire has weaknesses. What are they? The dragon's eyes seemed to brighten slightly. Their dependence on nexium is their greatest vulnerability. Their ships, their weapons, all powered by the same energy. And you can manipulate that energy, Tai said, entering the tent with Min behind him. That's what celestial dragons do, right? Once, yes, Kang admitted. But my power is greatly diminished now. Min stepped forward, holding her tablet. Maybe not. We've been analyzing the data from when you sent your message. The energy you channeled, it's still present in the area, like an echo. Alara looked startled. That should not be possible, unless... Kang's voice grew stronger with sudden realization. Unless the cosmic energy responded to my call. It has been so long since a dragon used their full power on this world. Tai nodded excitedly. The readings show energy patterns all over the planet now, not just here. It's like you woke something up. Double quotes. Hope flickered in Jia's heart. Can you use this energy? To fight the Empire, not alone. Kang said, but perhaps, he looked at Alara. The assembly ships. They use quantum resonance drives. Yes, Alara nodded. Standard for all our vessels. If we modified them to amplify the cosmic energy patterns, created a network around the planet. Kang's eyes glowed brighter as he spoke. A planetary shield. Tai finished, catching on quickly, using Earth's own energy field. Min was already typing on her tablet. We'd need to position the ships strategically and find a way to connect them to the energy pattern. I could be that connection, Kang said. A conduit between the cosmic energy and the ships. Gia frowned. But you're still weak. It could kill you. I am willing to take that risk, Kang said firmly. This world gave me something I had lost hope. I will not abandon it now. Over the next 3 weeks, they worked tirelessly. The Nari shared their technology with Earth's scientists, who were amazed by the sudden appearance of alien allies. Governments around the world, initially suspicious, quickly united when they understood the threat. Kang grew stronger each day, though he never regained his former appearance. His scales remained stone-like, and a network of glowing blue lines now covered his body. Pulsing with cosmic energy, you look like a living constellation, Gia told him one evening as they watched the assembly engineers prepare the defense system. A fitting change, Kang replied. My kind were born from the stars long ago. Perhaps I am simply returning to my true nature. On the day the Imperial Harvester appeared in Earth's orbit, everything was ready. The assembly ships formed a network around the planet, each connected to special stations built on the ground. At the center of it all was Kang, hovering above the mountain where he had first crashed. Gia, Tai, and Min watched from a safe distance as the massive Imperial ship approached. It was enormous, blocking out the sun like an eclipse. It's starting, Min said, looking at her equipment. They're powering up their extraction beam. Kang's voice came through their communication devices. Now Alara, activate the network. The assembly ships began to glow, sending beams of light toward Kang. The dragon's body absorbed the energy, growing brighter until he was a star in the daylight sky. I feel them, Kang said. The cosmic energies, the heart of this world. His voice changed, becoming deeper, more powerful. And I feel you, Empress. Watching through your harvester's eyes, a beam of destructive energy shot from the Imperial ship toward Earth. But before it could reach the atmosphere, it met a wall of blue-white light that spread from Kang outward, encompassing the entire planet. The Imperial beam struck the shield and stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the energy began to flow backward, up the beam toward the harvester. Impossible, a new voice came through their devices cold. Imperial, furious, you forgot what dragons truly are. Empress, Kang replied, not weapons to be controlled, guardians of life. The shield brightened, and the reversed energy struck the harvester. Cracks of light appeared across its dark surface. The ship tried to retreat, engines flaring. But it was too late. The energy had infected its Nexium core dot in a flash that turned. Night to day, the Imperial Harvester exploded. Pieces of it burned up in Earth's atmosphere like shooting stars on the ground. Gia watched as Kang slowly descended from the sky. The network of light faded, but the blue lines on his body still glowed. You did it, she said as he landed beside her. You saved Earth. We saved Earth, Kang corrected. All of us together. He looked up at the sky where the harvester had been. The Empire will not return quickly. Their Empress has felt the cost of attacking a world protected by a celestial dragon. And the assembly, Tai asked. They will stay to help your world prepare, Kang said. There's much your people can learn, and much you can teach them in return. What about you? Gia asked, touching his stone-like scales. Will you stay too? Kang lowered his great head to look her in the eyes. My exile has become something else, a new purpose. His eyes glowed warmly. I think Earth could use a dragon guardian, don't you? Gia smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. Definitely. And I know where we can start. There's an ice cream shop in town with 31 flavors. You haven't tried yet. As the sun set on a world forever changed, Kang looked at the humans who had become his friends, at the assembly ships that had once seemed so far beyond reach, and at the stars where his message continued to spread across the galaxy. The empires. Crimes would not remain hidden any longer. He had come to Earth as a prisoner, a dragon without hope. He would remain as its protector, a guardian reborn through the kindness of a human girl who had not run away when she saw a monster. In the moonlight. Sometimes, exile was not an end, but a beginning.